It's LA Visualizations. Come back at you with another video. No, I have to change that intro, and no, I'm going to change it too. Alright, we're going to start with the Nikon 24-120 f4. I'm not going to lie, out of my top 3 lenses, this is probably number 1. Only because it's so versatile. Because I can shoot all kinds of things with this lens. Especially landscapes and time lapses. And if I want to, I can shoot portraits with this lens. Even though it's at f4. For some reason, I didn't think I was going to like this lens a lot. Because I'm usually a prime shooter. And I just didn't think I was going to like this lens a lot. And for the cost, it's a phenomenal lens. I like this lens a lot. I don't use it that much for portrait shooting. Because I use the 85, but we'll talk about that later. But like I said, the 24-120, I shoot almost all my landscape work. I'll start putting some pictures up right here. Is with the 24-120. Especially when I'm doing long exposures. I have the Summit filter kit that I put on here, and I don't know, there's something about this lens that I really like about it. My only, it's not really a con, but it's f4, you know. So when I'm taking this lens, when I travel with this lens, it's great, but when it comes to nighttime photography, not so much. Not so much, because it's, like I said, it's f4. You still make it work, you know, things like that with the noise and stuff like, and things like that. However, sometimes you just need, you need another stop of light or another 2 stops of light sometimes at night. So usually at night I don't bring this lens with me to shoot at all. I just don't. Like I said, probably my favorite lens, begrudgingly. Is it begrudgingly? Don't really know if it's begrudgingly, but I just didn't think I was gonna like this lens that much, but I do. I like it a lot. Now my favorite lens for portrait photography is the 85mm 1.8 from Viltrox. I just love the way the 85 looks. I know it's cliche, and it just, I don't know. I film almost all my portrait shoots with an 85 if I can. All the time. I mean, all the time. Even if I can't, I still try to sneak it in there. I just don't know what it is. It's something magical about it. However, what I try to do is probably rent the 85mm from Nikon to see is there a big difference between those two. Because the reason why I got the Viltrox one is because it was quite cheaper than the Nikon version. But Nikon also has the 1.2, and from what I saw online, is phenomenal. But it's also $2,400 or $2,200, something like that. And I'm like, so I'll probably rent that lens too. So you know what I'll probably do? I'll probably rent the 85 1.2 and the 85 1.8 and this one, and just do some pictures with it. Take some pictures with it and see if there's a big difference. I know with the 1.2 there is going to be a big difference, but I also know the 1.2 is huge. But anyways, back to the Viltrox. Like I said, it's my favorite portrait lens. I just love using this lens, you know, this focal length, just a lot. The next lens is the 1430 f4. My mom actually got me this lens. Actually got me this lens too. It's when I thought I was going to do a lot of real estate photos. I thought I was going to get into real estate, and that's why I got this, and it just didn't pan out. But I need to start taking this lens with me when I take this with me too, when I'm doing landscape photography. So I'm going to start using this lens a lot more this year, and we'll probably start a series with it just to see if I can make it work for me. Because if not, I should probably get rid of it because I don't really use it all that often. And then there's the Viltrox 35mm 1.8. I'm not gonna lie, I do not use the 35 all that often. For photo work, for video I do, but for photo work I just don't use it that often. So that's another lens that I need to sit there and be like, I need to see if I can use this a lot more than what I do. For photos, I know it's more environmental. You can see more the person and the environment they're in, and maybe I'll start doing that too. But I just need to start taking it with me a lot more to see if I can make it work for me. Now this lens, this Mr. Plastic Fantastic from Viltrox, the 20mm 2.8. I didn't think I was gonna like this lens all that much. I absolutely love this lens, and I don't know why. Because I don't do that much wide angle shots, you know, until I got this lens. So I took this lens with me to Chicago, and I put it on the Nikon Z8, and it was just so light to walk around with. I was like, oh, this is really good. And it got me thinking, you know, I keep saying this, that I wasn't going to buy another camera because I bought this beast of a camera. But I'm like, if I'm walking around, I should probably have something a little more compact. So I'm not sure how small the ZF is, so I might look at that, or look at the Z50, but I don't think I'm doing a Z50 or anything like that, only because I got spoiled on the Nikon Z8 and its autofocus system. So I'll probably look at the Nikon ZF just to see what it looks like, and probably rent it. You know, 'cause I do like the smaller compact, you know, smaller footprint. And we'll talk about. I will do a series on this lens. And then there's the 28mm 2.8 from Nikon. It was cheap. I got it. I don't use this lens that much, so I don't know what I'm going to do with it. So, and the 50mm that's recording me right now. I do use the 50mm a lot for video. Usually almost all the YouTube videos I do is shot on the 50. And if I don't have the 85 with me for photos, I use the 50. So I do use that lens a lot. So I guess you can say I use the 50 more than anything else because I use it for video and for photo. So that's that lens. However, you notice I have a lot of Viltrox lenses, and the reason I have a lot of Viltrox lenses is because they're quite a bit cheaper than the Nikon offering, quite a bit, and that's why I do get the Viltrox. But for the most part, most of your customers are not going to know what kind of lens you use. They're not going to know. But we as photographers or videographers, we're going to know when we start to pixel peak and things like that. So there are certain things that I don't like about it. I don't think I talked about this before, but I remember I was shooting with the 35, and I think I was shooting with these two lenses for video, and I went to match them up, and I noticed that they are very different when it comes to the color profile. Two different lenses. I think I talked about this before again. Two different lenses profile. So that means that when I'm doing video, I have to make sure I'm using the same Viltrox to Viltrox or Nikon to Nikon, because your boy doesn't want to do that much more color correction because I'm not that good at it yet, and it's just one more thing to do. So I just got to make sure that I'm using the same things for all the time. So if Viltrox ever come out with some zoom lenses, that'd be great too, because it'll be quite a bit cheaper. Because the next zoom lens I do want to get the Nikon 70-200, but that's over $2,000. I wouldn't mind the 24-70, that's over $2,000. But the lens I want to get go with, not necessarily go with the 85, but see if I like that one better, is the Nikon Plena 135. I really want to use that lens, so I'll probably, you know, I'll just end up renting it or something like that and see how much I like it. But like I said, so the next lens I really want to buy would be either the 70-200 or the Nikon 135 millimeter. I do know that for the holy trinity of lenses that Nikon, the Tamron rebranded ones, they have those three too. That's quite a bit cheaper than the Nikon versions, but that's also something I could look at too. But right now, I just wanted to do a little video to make sure that I keep myself honest to myself, because I told myself that I would start putting out more content, even if it doesn't really do that well for me. I remember something short and sweet like this, and that's why I'm doing it. And now, I'm just rambling, so see you in the next one.